Stuck in a cycle of endlessly consuming content, never finding any lasting inspiration to create? Another year can't go by like this. Something has to change. Let's say you drew for 1 hour every other day over the course of 2023. That is roughly 200 hours. Let's also say that you had a social media screen time of 3 hours per day, which is actually being quite conservative. That is 1,000 hours across 2023. You've probably heard that the number of hours needed to master a skill is 10,000. Now, it takes more than just putting in those hours. You have to work smart and hard. But you do still need to put in the hours. Nobody wants to talk about that anymore. Everybody's making all these videos saying, work smart, not hard, and that drawing every day is bad advice. And you might say, I have a life, I have stuff to do, and I don't have any inspiration. Get rid of this. This is why you don't have any inspiration. The reason we struggle with inspiration so much today as artists is because we rely on consuming media to find it. We scroll Pinterest for hours to find that one perfect reference. We scroll Instagram to find our art style, TikTok to find a fun art challenge. But it doesn't work. I've been there so many times scrolling Pinterest, and by the time I find a reference I really want to draw, I'm too exhausted to actually draw it. So I'm like, okay, I need a break before I'm going to draw it. And by taking a break, I mean scrolling on YouTube instead. And by the end of that, I'm even more tired. So now I definitely can't draw. It doesn't have to be like this. But I think that as artists, we have an even greater tendency to justify our bad habits and vicious cycles because there's this kind of myth that surrounds the idea of being an artist. That to be a good artist, you have to be sad. Because if we think of the greatest creatives, they're not happy people. The greatest pieces of art, whether it's a painting or a song, they're full of pain. And so you might get this stupid idea that having bad mental health is just part of being an artist. It's not. Being miserable isn't helping your art at all. You're just being miserable, and your art is worse for it. What it takes to break out of this is discipline, but not in the way you might think. I'm not talking about doing what you don't want to do kind of discipline. That doesn't apply to art. Art requires motivation. You can't force yourself to draw if you don't want to draw. It doesn't work. I mean, you might sit down and start drawing a few lines when you're unsure if you really want to draw or not, but you can't force art. What we need is the discipline to protect our motivation, not to ignore it, to protect our creative energy in a world full of distractions that is literally meant to turn you into a consumer. And I know you've heard the social media bad so many times that at this point you just go, yeah, true, and keep scrolling. But let me tell you a story. Back in 2021, I'd been drawing for 2 or 3 months. For the first month, I was like super motivated, so I just drew all day. But after that, I started drawing less and less, and I started going back to playing video games more and more. Now, you might not play video games, but just hear me out. The more I played, the less creative energy I had left for my art. I started making deals with myself like, okay, well, if you draw for 1 hour, then you can play video games. As if art was some chore to get out of the way. And I came to the realization that I was going to have to choose. And I canceled my World of Warcraft subscription, a game I have spent thousands of hours on, a game that literally used to be my home when I was at my worst. And I dedicated myself to drawing. If I hadn't made that choice, I would never have gotten to where I am. This YouTube channel wouldn't exist, and my art would never have gotten to this point. I might have quit entirely even. And my point is not specifically about video games. We all have our vices that hijack our creativity. And I know you're going to be in the comments and say that those vices inspire you and that it's okay as long as you balance it. Everything in moderation. Go moderate a Discord server, you loser. Having balance in your life should be about having a balance between good things and other good things, not good things and bad things. And at the very least, as an artist, the bare minimum, create more than you consume. But you know, you don't actually have to consume at all. You don't have to watch TV shows or movies or anime. You don't have to play video games. You don't have to scroll on social media. You don't have to watch YouTube videos, including this one. You can spend all of your creative energy on creating and none on consuming. You can do it if you want. It's up to you.